Did you know that you can finish Donkey Kong Bananza without 2 of the Bananzas? Donkey Kong Bananza has only been out for a week, and players are already breaking the entire progression system. From skipping entire layers to playing entire layers without Bananzas, the possibilities for this game are already cracking wide open. Stick around to the end of the video to catch the most game-breaking and speedrunning efficient skips that you don't want to miss out on. Here are 6 must-know skips found in the first week of Donkey Kong Bananza. Before you try any of these skips, make sure you kind of have the basics of the game down. Knowing how to roll off ledges and Pauling's yelling mechanic in co-op mode are essential for some of these skips. You'll also need to get one of the skill points on the skill tree to unlock the jump shot skill. Without these mechanics, you're going to be falling and dying a lot. Our first skip comes from the Lagoon layer. Dropping down from sub-layer 100, you're going to be greeted with a ledge overseeing the Kong Elder. Head towards the farthest point of this boat structure, towards where it curves outward. You'll then grab a chunk of land using ZR and use it for a double jump boost. At the peak of your jump, roll using ZL and then punch the rest of your way to the ledge using Y. You'll also need to cheese your way over to the record by hopping onto the right side here, and then jumping onto the floating island holding the record piece. After you've grabbed that record piece, you can either throw it back to where you were before or ride it over the way you came. Skip 2 moves on to the resort layer, where you can use the game's enemies for a quick skip to the top of the watermelon. The key to the skip is the Trailfanoid, and yes, I had to look up the name for that for this video. Every time they see you, they'll burst into a straight and upwards tack towards you. Position yourself directly between the watermelon and the Trailfanoid so the attack goes towards the watermelon. When they're coming towards you, quickly get behind them, and when they reach the peak of their attack, line up with the watermelon again and whack it towards the watermelon. You'll then go back to the base of the rainbow trail the Trailfanoid created and entice another to attack you. Repeat this process until you have created 4 trails upward. Then you can grab a piece of the rainbow with ZR to float upwards. When you reach the highest point, transform into the Ostrich Bananza to fly over to the watermelon and climb up. Just make sure the trails are lined up cleanly, or you're never going to want to hear the word Trailfanoid again. Moving towards the core, we're now reaching the racing layer for our third skip, and this is also the easiest skip. Run quickly past Dixie and Diddy, and when you reach the ledge on the other side, use an alternating combo of Ostrich Bananza flying and punching. You're going to want to go back and forth to reach the wall on the other side that you can climb up. Once you're there, you can easily jump over to the trophy, climb up, and launch yourself down to the next layer. Before we dive into the last 3 crazy skips, hit that like button and subscribe if you're enjoying the video. There's plenty more insane Nintendo Switch game breaks coming your way. Before we get on to some of the most prominent skips in the game, I wanted to show you one of the most interesting, hardest, and useless skips in the game so far. Skipping the Snake Bananza. You're going to roll and turf surf your way until you reach the Snake Elder area. Once you're there, you're going to climb on top of the Elder and use the Ostrich Bananza to fly over to the roof here. You'll then dodge 2 enemies and be faced with the first Bananza lock problem, the floating key. You'll then need to switch into co-op mode, where you'll be playing using the 2 Joy-Cons separately, and this gets really annoying really fast. Find the nearest sand pile and hold ZR on the Pauling controller to set as your material to yell. Sand and snow can be used because they stick together and can form long stretches of terrain. You'll then use motion controls to make a makeshift ladder up to the key by Pauling yelling sand at sand. Once you're at the top of the sand creation, you're going to jump up and grab your key. You could use the spin jump skill if you've unlocked it and cut out a few chunks of land getting your way up there, but it's not required to do so. Just clear the void tape and jump down the hole to the next up layer. But then you're going to get to the game where I spent over an hour of my life failing at this part. You're going to jump down the pit to the next sub-layer and enter the Snake Bananza room. You're supposed to use the snake jump to get over the burning barrels and high ledges. But we don't have that. We have Pauline yelling at walls to create sand platforms, and I promise you, you are going to fall from them. The path I used starts at the left side of the room and crawls up to the top left of the wall, where you're going to reach a Bananza recharge. You're also going to have the opportunity to knock a rope back down to the level in case you fall off, and I promise you you're going to fall off, so go ahead and hit that rope. It is also important to mention that there is a void taped ledge on the frontmost wall that you can see if you shift the camera just right while on top of the Bananza recharge. So after you've noted where it is, you're going to jump on top of the Bananza recharge and crawl towards the top right, where you're going to be met with the first set of burning barrels that you're going to have to deal with. Now here I use Pauline to create a sand barrier to redirect the barrels so I wouldn't get hit by the barrels and continue on towards the top right. And just make sure that you don't fall off, because it is going to just make your life insufferable. Once you get up there, you're going to want to build a sand ladder to gain elevation since you're now on the backmost wall, and maybe build another sand barrier to redirect the barrels. It's just for your own safety. But now, because you remember where the void taped ledge was, you can use the Ostrich Bananza to fly to the other side, just barely. And as you can see on my stream, it was a massive sigh of relief, because there is another rope that you can drop down, meaning you'll never have to endure this portion again. So then you're going to build a quick sand ladder to the void tape core, sing to it, and break it to progress further. Once you're past this point, it becomes much easier, but Pauline's yell is still needed for some portions, and I'm going to spare this for your sanity and for mine. Skipping the snake is extremely impractical, but extremely rewarding. Unfortunately, the next skip is only one of those things. Oh, the Ostrich Bananza skip. Oh, how I hate you. The Ostrich Bananza skip skips the entire forest layer by first completing the freezer layer to obtain the Zebra Bananza. Once you've made your way to the junction and cleared out the void tape, you can build a snow bridge using Pauline's yelling again, another nightmare skip scenario, where you can reach the opposite side of the junction. You can then remove that side's void tape and continue towards the boss fight, skipping an entire layer. But Slipstream, I hear you yelling from the bottom of my comment section. Don't 3 of the skips you mentioned basically require the Ostrich Bananza to complete? Yes! Yes, noble viewer, they do. So you have to backtrack to the forest layer to get the ostrich anyway, so it's almost entirely pointless, and you just wasted another 20 to 30 minutes of your life creating a snow bridge. So now that you have lost half of your bananium doing so, because I promise, I know that you've fallen off in that hole, I know you're not good enough to build that your first time, you are going to lose half of your bananium. Please, for your own sanity, just do this last skip instead. And now for your viewing pleasure, our final and best skip, the Zebra Skip. Using the reverse logic of the Ostrich Skip, you can skip the freezer layer by clearing the forest layer instead. Now, I timed this when I was going through, and it took like 10 minutes, and the freezer layer takes maybe 15 or 20. So once you're at the junction, instead of building the dumb, stupid, and annoying snow bridge, you can just alternate flying and punching with the Ostrich Bananza to easily reach the freezer side of the junction. But it's important to remember here that you do have to get the Zebra Bananza in order to complete the final boss in its current state. But now that you've cleared out the other side of the void tape, you only have to get the Zebra Bananza to move on to the final boss. Which, this only takes you about 10 minutes because you're only getting the Zebra Bananza instead of going through the entire freezer layer, and this shaves like another 5 to 10 minutes off your original run. So with all of these skips, you should have a pretty decent tool pack for skipping some of the beef of Donkey Kong Bananza. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I've got plenty more DK Madness coming up and a bunch of Nintendo content I've got running around in my head. Comment if there's any skips you'd like to see me getting seething at the mouth mad at, slipping out. For skipping some of the beef of Donkey Kong Bananza's sequence portions. Sequence portions. Some of the beef of Donkey Kong Bananza.